Welcome back to another EMC Monday Mastermind call. We're Every Move Collective. We're going to be talking about leverage and systems today with Coach Lynea Carver. And before I go on to introduce her, just a reminder of who we are. Myself, my mom Eva here on the call, my brother Dylan. We run a top producing team out of Westchester County, New York, and
I can't
Connecticut.
really hear you guys for some reason. Hold on.
Anyone else hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's good. Maybe Annalisa, it could be a
No, it
volume.
connected to my Bluetooth. I'm going to
Uh,
do a quick walkthrough with the buyer. They just came in and their agent is not here. So I will jump back on in a moment.
Sounds
See you
Sorry.
soon.
good. Good luck.
Thank you.
So, where was I? Oh, we run a top producing team out of Westchester County, New York, and Connecticut. Soon to be developing our team in Los Angeles, which is where I live as well. I've been licensed since 2016 in New York and Pennsylvania. I'm officially getting my license in California. I take the exam tomorrow. So wish me
Yay.
luck. The rest of today is a cram study day.
Okay.
So, we run the amazing organization of Every Move Collective at eXp Realty, which brings you these bi-monthly masterminds. This is where we come together to be in community, network, learn from one another, especially movers and shakers in our industry who, have really valuable tools and resources that they're willing to, open their playbook and share with us. We do these on the second and fourth Monday of every month. So we encourage you to be as conversational as possible. Feel free to use the chat, raise your hand. Really appreciate everyone being on camera today. If you can be on camera, we definitely encourage it. If you can chime in the chat and say where you're tuning in from, that would be awesome. My mom, who's been in this business for 18 years, has built a lot of her success in agent to agent referrals. And I have even just learning from her really started to see the value in networking with agents from other areas. And so just take the opportunity to put out on, a pedestal where you are so people know where to send you business. Um,
Are you in Connecticut?
I'm New York and Connecticut. I live in New York, licensed in both.
Okay, great.
where
So
you can
I just to add to that, this is literally a little mini referral platform. Every 2 weeks, Colby sends out reminders to, I don't know, something like 1,000 people that have participated in our calls, but repeat people are seeing the same people over and over again. And it's a perfect opportunity to meet people and know where they're from. So that when you're looking for a referral, you can really identify it right off the bat. Like Anthony over here, I know is Long Island. He's my partner in LA. Excuse me, in LI. And Colby's soon to be in LA. So let's get to know each other. It really is a huge resource. I was about 70% of my business agent to agent referral at one point in time.
which is a good segue into introducing Linnea, who is based in Tacoma, Washington, Seattle area. She's a top producing agent, team leader, and business coach. I've been fortunate enough to attend some of her coaching calls that are amazing. And so having her in this community is such an honor. We have become connected over the past several months through a variety of different small communities within EXP, which has been kind of fun to like see organically develop over time. And she really has rebuilt her business through, I think you said 76% organic leads. So after facing extreme burnout, she realized that something needed to shift. And so we're going to be talking a little bit today about burnout and the systems that she rebuilt to, create a real estate business that was more sustainable and felt really good. I'll let her share a little bit about her background, but without further ado, I'll hand the mic over and we can start to dive in.
Awesome. Thank you. I just want to second the fact that I love so many cameras on today. So I know a couple people on here. Hi, Travis. Hi, Tony. The rest of you are all brand new to me. So you're going to hear this for the first time. And if you ever come to another one of my calls, I'm going to tell you again, cameras on is the best way to learn. That's why when you go to school as a child, you go in person so you can actually see the teacher and you can make eye contact and your body language and everything shows that you're connected. So if you want to learn something today, I encourage you keep your cameras on and pay attention and engage. I love conversation. I'm very high energy. You can probably figure that out real fast. I'm a very high DI, so I operate quickly, I talk quickly, and I love interaction. So thank you for those of you who are here today. So I want to show you a couple of things today. I have, like Colby told you, I have been in the real estate industry for, I like to say, my whole life. When people ask me how long I've been in the industry, it's kind of a funny question. I'm one of those born into the business people. My parents were literally building a house when I was in the womb. So I remember being like 2 years old, being on the roof of my house and my dad teaching me how to nail something in the roof. So literally born into the business, but I didn't actually get my license until 2018. That was after 12 years in a corporate career where I did everything from sales to merchandising to buy planning to eventually training corporate C-suite executives on how to plan, prioritize, and execute their top Fortune 500 strategies. So I have a very strong business background that I've now brought in with me to the real estate industry. And I want to show you that today. So if you are here to learn something like that, let me see in the chat.
I'm in the middle of this.
Oh, somebody's talking. So tell me in the chat, first of all, I see where you're from, but I'd love to know, how long have you all been in the business? What year did you get your license?
I'll make sure to mute people as they come in.
No problem. No problem. All right, I see 3 years, 2007, 2017, 4 years, 2008. Eva, 2008 is when I actually got out of the business for the first time. I didn't even tell you guys this. I actually did subprime loans from 2006 to 2008. Who remembers the market from 2006 to 2008? What do you think happened to people who did subprime loans? We got out and went to corporate. So that's what happened. So I
actually got licensed at the end of 2007, but I
did you?
2008. So I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like 2008, like when the market crashed and they changed the way that loan officers had to start doing business, I was not interested. I did not want to go back to school. I did not want to get a license. I was like, I've already been to college. I dropped out. I'm not going back. So I chose to go into corporate America instead. So kudos to those of you who made it through that market, because I certainly didn't. I came back. Okay, so 2018, 3 years active practicing, March 20. Ooh, Kimberly, you're brand spanking new. I love it. I love it. Brand new. All right.
Mark looks brand new as well. 6 months.
Oh yeah, 6 months, Mark. Oh, brand. Oh, we got some newbies. We got some fresh blood on this call. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so let me go into this. So I'm going to show you today kind of like my radical idea is that I firmly believe that business should be built based off of purpose, not based off of hustle. So that is why I titled what I have for you today, the purpose over hustle. It makes so much sense, right? So what I want to show you is how, first of all, I want to show you how I burned out. Because burnout is, you'll see in just a couple of slides, you'll see that burnout is a really, really common thing in our industry. And it's probably more common than you even recognize. And you probably have or are facing some of the signs of burnout. So I want to bring those, I want to make you aware of those. I want to tell you like what happened when I burnt out, why I burnt out, and how burnout actually led me to have the most fulfilling and most profitable business and life I could ever have had. So if it weren't for burnout, I don't know that I would be here today. So I'm going to thank burnout for that, but I also want to show you some of the things that to be aware of when it comes to that. So as you were told on your reminders, I'm going to show you a mindset shift that you need to adopt to go from burnout to being a CEO. I'm going to show you some of the systems that I've implemented in my CRM, lead gen, and following up. I'm going to show you how to leverage VAs. I love my VAs. I'm going to show you how to leverage automation and how to really help your team support your growth. And your team can be one person. It can be your lender. It can be your title rep. It can be your spouse, your significant other, your team. Just think you have a team all around you. So even if you are a quote unquote solo agent, you are not a solo agent. Okay. You have a team all around you. So I want to show you how you can use the people around you to help you provide leverage. And then most importantly, I want to show you some time-saving workflows that are going to boost your production. And very specifically, I will give you one workflow that I use every single day that's helped me go from an average of $10,000 compensation to well over, today it's well over $30,000. So I've been able to triple my compensation today by doing one simple workflow. Okay, so I want to tell you a few facts about burnout. So if you're seeing this and you're shocked, like put a thumbs up in the chat if you realize that, first of all, there are 3,000 registered agents in the US today. How many of you knew that?
3 million, you mean?
I'm sorry, 3 million. Thank you, Eva. Thanks for correcting my, because apparently I can't read my numbers. So how many of you knew that there's 3 million registered agents in the US today?
I did not realize that.
That's crazy, right? 3 million, that's a lot. Okay. Now, on top of that, this stat is the worst of the stats. 87% of agents are facing burnout. 87%. That is like 2.1 million agents are facing burnout. And it's because this industry has, most people experience high levels of stress and anxiety. And in one study that NAR actually did, stress and burnout are the biggest operational challenges that agents face. And to be quite honest with you, burnout is a very well recognized issue in the industry, but it's not talked about enough. So I talk about it because it's really, really important, because I think ultimately here's what happens when you face burnout is, first of all, you don't want to keep your license. And every single one of us got into the business for one reason, usually, whatever that reason is. Sometimes it usually has to do with helping people. Somewhere around there usually has to do with helping people. So when you're facing burnout, you start to actually resent your business. You start to resent the industry. You start to resent this thing that you got into to help other people's lives change. Even more important than this 87% is that 80% of real estate agents burn out within their first 2 years. So our two people that have been on this in this business for less than 6 months, or for 6 months or less, it is noted that 80% will burn out within their first 2 years. Here's what causes burnout. So first of all, the nature of what we do in real estate itself includes long hours. You'll see that from my story here in just a minute. Inconsistent income, and the pressure to always be available. On top of that, how many of you feel like you wear multiple hats in this business? How many of you feel like you are a marketer, a salesperson, an operations, a manager, a team leader, a recruiter, administrative assistant? I mean, I can probably keep going on and on and on. Here's a fun fact about neuroscience. Do any of you like neuroscience? Any of you like to study the brain? I love neuroscience. Here's a fun fact about neuroscience. Human beings can focus on one thing at a time. One thing. So if you're in an industry that requires you to do marketing, sales, operations, administrative, the actual in your business, driving and showing homes, and you have to do all of these things, guess what that does to your brain? It makes your brain, literally puts your brain circuits and fries your brain circuits, which is why we burn out. So this industry, it's probably not surprising to you that 87% of 3 million or 2.1 million agents experience burnout. Okay? Here's what happens when burnout happens, or when you burn out. First of all, for a brokerage, brokerages can't retain agents. How many of you have hopped around from brokerage to brokerage to brokerage thinking that the next broker is going to be the right fit? The reality is it's not the broker, right? It's not the broker, right? Brokerages can't retain agents when people are burnt out. So brokerages are doing everything they can. A good brokerage, okay, most of them I would say, are doing the things that are going to help their agents stay. We're going to help give you the systems and help give you the processes, give you the tools, give you the support that you need to focus on the one thing that you're good at. One thing. How many of you have ever read the book, The Genius Zone? Anybody ever read the book, The Genius Zone? Okay, how many of you are readers? We got readers on this call? Okay, all of you who raised your hand said, I'm a reader, please put that book down as the next book you should read, The Genius Zone. I really want you to understand what is your genius zone. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Fun fact. Oh, hey, Lanny. One more face I know. I love it. Fun fact. You don't have more than one genius zone. You have one. There you go. Good question, Eva. I believe it is Dr. Dan Sullivan, I believe. But or Dr. Benjamin Sullivan.
I'll look it up. No worries.
But the genius zone. You only have one genius zone. Now that genius zone might evolve as you go on, right? Because you learn something, it becomes a habit. And you're like, okay, I don't need to put any time or energy. I'm going to use this habit now to learn the next one. And I'm going to make this habit work for me. And this habit's going to become my genius zone. So you only have one genius zone that does evolve. So you should, thank you, Gay Hendricks. So you really should be thinking about the fact, if you are trying to do everything and wear every single hat in your business, you can't do it. You're a human being. One single human being. That is why you got to rely on the people all around you. Okay. I'm very, very, very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about people doing the thing that they should be doing. And if you ever come talk to me one-on-one and you ask me to look at your business from a 3,000-foot view, Colby and I just talked about this the other day. She was a guest on my YouTube show. But we just talked about this the other day. If you ever ask me to come and look at your business from a 3,000-foot view, we're going to narrow it down to only the one thing that you should be focusing on, and it's going to freak you out. It will. It's going to scare you. You're going to be like, oh my God, if I just do that one thing, what's going to happen to all these other things that are happening right here? And the funny thing is that all those other things are going to suddenly not matter. Or you're going to find somebody to figure it out, to do it for you, right? You're going to figure it out. Everything is figure outable. I think Marie Forleo says that, right? Everything's figure outable when you're focusing on the one thing.
Just to add to this idea, I'm reading this book called Us by Terry Real. And in the book, it talks a lot about how we live in like this society, this, individualistic culture that's kind of been put up on a pedestal. But at our core, as a species, we really actually thrive by relying on each other. And our prefrontal cortex actually, like when we know that someone that we trust is handling a task for us, maybe, back in the day it was I'm tending to the fire and you're looking out for bears. And now maybe it's I'm working with the clients and you're focusing on my marketing or you're focusing on my contracts. Like you actually are able to relax in your task and perform better in your task because your prefrontal cortex relies on this idea of us. We do things together better.
100%. It's a really good, what is it called? Us?
Yeah, I'll drop the link in the
Okay,
chat.
yeah, because I haven't read that one. I want that one. I love to read. Like I know there's other readers on this call. In 2023, total sidebar, but in 2023, I challenged myself to read 103 books or 100 books, and I read 103. And I focused everything in that book in that year around billionaires and how billionaires got to be billionaires, because the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire is more than just a zero. It's the way that they think. It's the way that they act. It's the way that they do. Right? Billionaires have the power to impact a crap ton of people on a very big, massive level. Much more. I mean, millionaires do too, but you have to have a band of millionaires to be able to accomplish what one billionaire can accomplish. So if you want to be the person who's going to impact the world in that sort of a way, you got to get in the head of billionaires. So that's actually what I did in 2023 is read 103 books on billionaires. And some of them are the same billionaires because I don't even know if I know 103 billionaires, but I read 103 books on billionaires. And this is where I 100% firmly believe and can tell you with absolute confidence that you should only do one thing, because that's all they did. Think about Steve Jobs for a minute. Okay. How many of you, we could always do the Apple or Android debate. Okay. Just for fun. In the chat, if you're Apple, put a 1. If you're Android, put a 2. If you're Apple, put a 1. Android, put a 2. Oh, we got an Android user. Anthony, the only one so far. All right, don't judge. No judging. Oh,
will
Eva.
not
Oh,
give
Eva
in.
too. He will not give in. I love it. Love it. Okay, so here's the thing. So
I
here,
agree, Anthony. I don't want to be bullied into one land.
so funny. On one of my calls a couple weeks ago, I had them because I'm talking to people about telling value, sharing value stories, because you have to be able to share the value why someone should use an iPhone or an Android. And I was like trying to use it as an exercise to teach them how to tell the value of create the value proposition behind each phone. You know, it's so funny. People cannot do it when it comes to phones. They can't talk about value. It's just more like, you shouldn't do this. You should do this. This phone's better. It's far more superior. It's really funny. But anyway, so here's the thing. So Steve Jobs started out with one mission. His mission was to change the way that people connect. That's what he wanted. Has he fulfilled that mission? Whether or not you're an Android user or an iPhone user, the answer is yes. He has. He's completely fulfilled that mission. He changed the way that people connect. And now, of course, there's all the technology that's come out after that, right? But that was his mission. And that's because for the whole life, whether when he was in his vegan phase, when he was in all these other phases, okay, the one thing he always stuck true to was the fact that he wanted to change the way that people communicate. That was his genius zone. He didn't ever do anything outside of that. He didn't ever try to like come in and be and focus on the how. He just had the vision, right? My vision is I want to change the way people communicate. Then he surrounded himself with the people who can make his vision come to life. Just like Colby just said, he trusted. He didn't have to worry about all the other things because he trusted that they knew the what. They knew the how. They knew all that stuff. All he had to do was have the vision. So that's what you really need to think about. And that's how you're going to avoid burnout, is have that one thing that you're really trying to accomplish. And that's the only thing you should be focused on. For me, back in 2021, that was trying to be the top 1%. And if you ever hit the top 1%, here's what I can tell you. The top 1% is a world of burnout. That's all it is. It is a world of burnout. I was super high achieving. I really wanted to hit that top 1%, and I did, but here's how I did it. I worked 70 hours a week. I was constantly on the go. My business was super reactive. Okay. In our industry, whether we like to admit it or not, we celebrate burnout. I want you to think about it. Who gets recognized?
People who do 1,000 deals a year.
100%. The people that sell the most houses or do the most volume. That's who gets recognized. So unless you're running a large team, you have limited control over your schedule and your income. Very limited control. And that was me. I was on a relentless cycle of chasing leads, always on the chase. Okay, making super bad investments in the next best shiny object lead generation system. Okay, how many of us get 1 million lead generation propositions a day? Okay, all of us. It's just part of real estate. Okay, I said yes to so many of them. Okay, because I thought that's what I needed to do to get to the top 1%. I was completely stunted in growing my business. Completely stunted. And then what happened is I came home from work one day. This is my husband. As you can see, he is my world. Okay. We got married in 2019. And remember, I told you this story was in 2021. 2021, I came home. I was out for about 14 hours with clients, listing appointments, showings, et cetera, et cetera. I had been going 18 days in a row. I don't think I had a single day at home. How many of you can relate to this? Okay. It's a very real story in our industry, especially if you want to get to that top 1%. And my husband, when I came home that day, he looked at me and he was like, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't marry you so you could be married to your job. I married you because I wanted a friend. I wanted a partner. I wanted a friend. I wanted a wife. Okay. And that hit me really hard. And then the worst part was that I looked at my profit and loss statement. How many of you actually pay attention to your P&L statement? Yeah. So I don't see a lot of hands raised. That is normal. Normal to not pay attention to the P&L statement. Why pay attention to something? Because if you can't see that you don't have any money, if you can't see where your money's not going, it's just really easy to ignore it. Funny story. Money is an energy. When you ignore the energy, money will ignore you. And that's exactly what happened. My P&L statement that year showed me that I was in a negative 5 figures. And I'm going to tell you, this year I made well over $500,000. And I'm not saying that to brag at all. I'm saying that to show you that it is a really very real thing. Burnout is a real thing. You're going to go broke. You could lose your marriage. And that was the breaking point. I realized that without change, I would start resenting my business. Okay. I had to reevaluate my priorities. I fired myself. I want you to think about firing yourself for just a minute. If you've ever had a job where you had to fire people, it's a really hard conversation to have. It sucks to fire somebody. When that someone is you really have to think about what you're going to do to change things, right? I fired myself because I was costing my business more than I was making, and I wasn't meeting my own high expectations. So then I had to rehire myself with a brand new focus. And here's what happened. I had to start acting and operating like a CEO. A CEO thinks about the bottom line. They think about the output. What is my dollars per hour? How much am I spending on this, and how much is it bringing in? Where is the biggest bang for my buck? Who is my business meant to serve? That is what CEOs think about. My mission was super clear. I had to build a business with intention, focusing relentlessly on systems, strategy, success, with the underlying core being on serving the exact client I am meant to serve and saying no to everyone else. So today, I have a business that is built completely off of purpose and profit, not just one or the other. I didn't have just like super individual tactics when I did this. I had to apply a very universal principle that my business is all about systems and strategy in order to have the success that I want. So here's what a purpose-driven business looks like. So in 18 months, I went from a negative 5 figures to profiting well over 6 figures. My 70 hours a week went down to 10 hours a week. Okay. And today I have a business that fuels my passion, which is to go to the Mediterranean and stand there and take a pretty picture. Okay. That is what I love to do. That brings me joy in life. My average commission soared, as I told you before, but not just by raising my price point, by elevating my service, by saying yes to only the right people that I'm supposed to work with and saying no to everyone else. And when I did this, it helped me to confidently ask for more compensation. My profit margin improved by over 85%. My listings started coming in on autopilot, and they still do today, generated solely through referrals and organic methods. So now my business is what fuels my passion for doing things like this, helping others find and feel their passion. So systems that I'm going to show you now, I'm going to show you a couple of my systems. These are not just efficient. Systems are super sexy. I love systems. Systems are my love language, and they solve 99% of the problems that real estate agents face. They 100% solve the problem of burnout. So if you don't have any systems in your business, I want you to think about adopting a new mindset today. I want you to think about embracing change, overcoming fear, and seeking opportunities, especially because this market is dramatically changing every single minute of the day. Okay. So the new law of success is called purpose over hustle. So I consider success to be built off of my daily actions aligning with my core values. So if I'm doing things every day that are not aligned with my core values, I'm failing. This is how I define business. And you're going to do this a couple of ways. How many of you kind of want to learn how to build a purpose-filled business? Because here's the deal, 87% of agents are facing burnout. That's 2.1 million real estate agents are facing burnout. So I found that while I was in the top 1%, I was actually in the majority 87%. So I wasn't really in the top 1%. Today, I look at top 1% as a very different stats. I look at top 1% as highest dollars per hour. How many of you calculate your dollars per hour? Eva, does not surprise me, Eva. Okay, learn to calculate your dollars per hour. I actually have a dollars per hour worksheet I can give you if you want to use it. I highly recommend you calculate your dollars per hour, because your goal should always be to increase your dollars per hour. Because when you're increasing your dollars per hour, what that means is that, first of all, you've had leverage in your business, right? You're focused on the things that will actually matter. And for me, what matters to me is I say no to more business than I say yes to. I turned down 2 listings last week because I was like, dude, I just don't want to. I don't want to. I just already know there's something misaligned here. I'm not desperate enough to take a listing and work with someone for right now in this market about 6 months. Let's be real. It's going to take about 6 months to sell a house. Okay. Like 45 days to get an offer on it, maybe longer sometimes, right? And then you got to deal with it until it goes closing. So I just say, do I want to work with this person for 6 months? No. Okay. No. Okay. So I really want you to focus on your dollars per hour. So that's how I calculate, top 1% today. When I see an agent who's like actually earning the dollars per hour that they want to earn, and they're working on increasing that number every day, that is so much more success to me than how much money you made, how much profit you made, how many houses you sold, how much volume you sold. How much dollars per hour are you increasing every single day? So
Lynea, just going to jump in here and answer in the chat. There are a lot of questions about how they get the worksheet. If you could share it through Colby, we do a follow-up email after every one of these calls, along with your contact info. So if people want to talk to you about it.
I would be happy to. So I want to show you a couple of things. So I have some slides for this, but I think I'm just going to go off the cuff because I do way better off the cuff sometimes. Okay. So I'm going to show you one system that I implemented and how I implemented it and how it's actually saved me so much time. Remember I told you I work 10 hours a week in my business. I've already made my goal for sales for the year. For 2025, my focus shifted a little bit into how I wanted to impact people. And in order to make that shift happen, I had to have my real estate business working for me on autopilot because my real estate business is going to fund my growth. Right? So I'm going to show you a system that I implemented immediately that really helped make sure that I can do that. First of all, whenever I say system, someone always asks me, what CRM do you use? I'll give you the answer. Follow Up Boss. I love Follow Up Boss. I freaking love Follow Up Boss. You know why? Because it is so easy. A caveman can do it. How many remember those commercials? So easy, a caveman can do it. Okay. That's how easy Follow Up Boss is. It's so freaking easy to use Follow Up Boss. So I'm like, okay, if you don't like technology and you want a CRM that's going to work for you, Follow Up Boss. So I implemented what I call my unstoppable listing system. Let me show you real quick the basically 4-part formula to the unstoppable listing system. Okay. So it's basically, like I said, it's a 4-part formula. And this is how I guarantee that I'm going to get every single listing appointment that I go on because I'm all about dollars per hour, right? How many of you have gone on a listing appointment and haven't gotten it? I know I'm not the only one. Every one of us has. What happens?
Not usually though.
Not usually. You get better. You get better and better and better, right?
You gotta throw that caveat out there.
Right. Not usually, but we've done it. We've all done it. I very rarely miss listing appointments now. I should say I've never not been hired. I've offered to hire. How about that? Now I'll say no. But we go on listing appointments and we don't get them. And we just talked about dollars per hour. So if you don't know how many dollars per hour you should be earning, you're going to take every single listing appointment that's out there. You're going to spend all your time putting all this work in. You're going to go and pull comps. You're going to do all this. You're going to just do so much work for it. Okay. And that's time wasted. If your dollars per hour, let's say you spend 3 hours prepping for a listing appointment, which is about on average what I hear people say they spend. You spend 3 hours prepping for a listing appointment. Let's pretend your dollars per hour is $500. That's $1,500. And then you don't get the listing appointment. Guess what happened? $1,500 is gone. How many of you like to just wake up and throw $1,500 down the toilet? I don't like that. Okay. So I have a 4-part listing system that ensures that I get every listing. The first one is preparing deeply. Okay, so I teach this in a whole different class. I mean, if Colby and Eva want to show you how to have access to that, I can happily share that with you. But it's all about how to really prepare for the client, not for the house. So it's a big point of difference in how I prepare for my listing appointments, how we pre-qualify our listing appointments, okay, how we guide and educate our clients on being the actual expert, and then what to do at the appointment. How to take your listing appointments from 90 minutes down to 30 minutes, which is my favorite thing in the world. I love listing appointments because they're 30 minutes long. That's it. And here's why. Because on the front end, when we're preparing for our appointments, who's doing that? Who's doing it? How many of you are doing your own preparation for all your listing appointments yourself? Okay. Here's what I want to tell you. Stop. Don't do it. Okay. First of all, there's one easy way to determine if you even want to take a listing appointment. The first, that is to pre-qualify your seller. We talk about pre-qualifying buyers, right? If a buyer is not pre-approved with a lender, are you going to take them out to show them homes? No. You're not there just to open doors for funsies, right? Just like you're not going to go to a listing appointment just for funsies, just to practice your listing presentation skills. I mean, you can in the beginning. So you two that are newer into the industry, maybe you want to practice in the beginning, or maybe you can just role play with some friends, okay? But you don't just go to a listing appointment for funsies. So you pre-qualify your sellers up front. That's the number one way to save time, because you're going to find, I thought I had every single tool pulled up here for you, but I didn't. Let me pull it up real quick. And I will give you guys this too. You're going to find that when you pre-qualify your sellers, you are going to find more people that you really want to work with and more people that you really don't want to work with. So pre-qualifying your sellers is something super simple. So 24 hours before every single appointment that I take, I do a pre-qual call. Okay. And our pre-qual call, we're getting to know everything that you would normally be finding out during the listing appointment. So you're going to a listing appointment right now, you're spending 30 minutes just getting to know all of the things that you need to know about them. You know, what's your timeline, how important it is to you. You're going in there trying to like get a gauge on whether or not they're going to be reasonable on price. But if you actually go before and you set up a call 24 hours before the appointment, you get to really narrow down who you want to work with. So if a client tells me to this day, hey, I'm just kind of checking it out. I'm just like playing with the market to see if I want to sell right now. We're probably getting a lot of that right now. Guess what? Do I want to spend my time doing a bunch of prep work? Do I want to pay my VA to do all of the stuff that I'm going to show you here in just a second? No, I don't. Instead, you know what I could do? I could ask a couple of quick questions and I could film a quick Loom video that says, here's a market update for you. Here's what I think. Call me or text me if you have any additional questions. Then I just saved a ton of time by not preparing for the full appointment, not stressing out with the energy, am I going to get the appointment, not driving to the appointment. I literally did what could have taken 3 to 4 hours in 10 minutes.
I actually have a question about this. So in this scenario, you already have an in-person appointment scheduled, but you also schedule a pre-qualifying call 24 hours in advance.
Yep.
If on that call you find that the client doesn't feel ready or it's not aligned with how you want to spend your time, how do you cancel that in-person appointment? Like, what does that look like?
This question comes up all the time. So it's very simple. It's right now I'm looking to fill our time with value and with action moving forward. And I know that you don't want to waste your time talking to me, and I don't want to waste my time talking to you unless you're actually serious. And that's actually literally what I say. Now you got to find your own verbiage, because I'm a very high D. As we started out this call, I'm a high D. I'm like, don't waste my time, right? But also remember, I also told you that I only work with my exact ideal client, right? My ideal clients are also very high Ds. My ideal clients are not high S. If I had high S come to me, I probably wouldn't book the appointment. So That's how I answer that question, Colby, is I just say, you know what? When you're ready to actually move forward and take action from our appointment, let's reschedule this. A lot of times you can get people all have to reschedule it because both decision makers won't be there. It'll be one decision maker and not the other. Big no-no. Okay. Had that happen to me before, that's a waste of time. Okay. So that's how I do it. I literally just say, unfortunately, like right now, I'm looking to fill my time with action. And I know you are too. So
I'm curious if people can show in the chat here, how many people are doing that? How many people are turning down a listing appointment by being discretionary and actually, you know, picking the ones that they want to work with? I see Tony saying yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Feels
cool.
good.
It
Yeah.
sounds like people are actually doing that. That's really
I
great.
think
Mhm.
I think there's definitely a fear when it comes to being a new agent and missing out on opportunities, because even when I was doing rentals when I first started out, for the past 6 months, it's on, not when I first started out, but a lot of times, you know, every phone call or every showing, I'm saying yes, I'm saying yes, I'm saying yes, because I don't want to overthink later on that, you know what if that person would have closed on the deal and I just missed out of it. That's like my biggest worry at the moment. I think a lot of agents can relate to that too when you're first starting out.
Mhm. And I think that's where you get better about asking your questions, right? You get better about those pre-qualifying questions, right? Rather than just, because it's a real fear and it's valid, right? What if I do go to the listing appointment and they do want to sell and I said no because something told me they didn't? It's a very real fear. And that's where something like having a script like this comes in handy, because in the script, you actually see that I ask legitimate questions to get down to the root of that right there, Mark. Because I'm not here to tell you don't sell any houses at all. I'm not here to tell you also that if you want to be in the top 1% or you are in the top 1%, that is a bad thing at all. I am telling you that you need to protect your mental health, you need to protect your well-being if you want to have a long-term sustainable business. Because here's the thing. I told you I was born in the womb. We were selling houses. My mom has been in the business for 35 years. My entire life. I grew up, she was a loan officer. When I was in my 20s, she got into the real estate side. So she's been around this business my entire life. Okay. Here's what I can tell you. She's been in the top 1% and she was just as burnt out as I was. So as an example that I saw from coming from somebody in the industry, watching my mentor, my mom, get to the top 1% and watch the way she did it. The only way I knew how to do it was to overwork myself. Because as a kid, my mom was always showing houses. My mom always was with clients. She wasn't with us. Okay, she was doing her best to make our life be she was doing what she could to make us have a thriving childhood. So that meant that's all I knew. That's all I learned how to do. So it's not a bad thing. It's awesome. I think being in the top 1% is amazing. When I talk to top 1% agents, I'm like, yeah, let me get inside your brain. I talked to someone the other day who's selling 85 homes on his own. No leverage, no systems, no nothing. And I'm like, how do you freaking do that? Like, you're like a superhuman. You guys know who Gary Brecka is? Like, he has his superhuman, right? Like, he's like a Gary Brecka of real estate, okay? 85 homes on his own. Anyway, so I'm not here to tell you that, but I am here to tell you to be selective about who you serve. And I'm here to tell you to like put the systems in place to serve those people. So one of the things I didn't really go into a lot because of timing is like when I burned out and I had to rebuild, I had to really, really discover exactly who I am meant to serve. And I'm not meant to serve everybody. As a real estate agent, as a coach, as a friend, I am not meant to serve everybody. I am meant to serve those people who need my genius. I am structured. I am organized. I am methodical. I am systematic. I am meant to serve people who need that, because structure, organization, methods, and systems solve major problems. They solve decision fatigue. Okay? So if you have systems in place, you don't have to make a decision about what to do because it's already done for you. Right? If you have methods in place, you don't have to worry about what to do again because it's already done for you. You don't have to worry about what's the next step going to be because you already know it's already planned out. So that's a person that I'm meant to serve. So the people who want me to come and be, oh, I'm going to be your best friend and I'm going to, we're going to talk for like 3.5 years and la, 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 right? That's not my person. There's a person for that. It could be some of you on this call. Cool. I'll go send all those clients to you. Send all the other ones to me. Okay. So like, just that's what I want you to think about is when I had to rebuild, that's what I had to do. So all of my systems have been built around serving that person and filtering out for that person. There's a lot of people that come in. I get a ton of referrals. I get about 7 to 8 referrals a week right now, which is for me a lot because I don't have a lot of money going into my real estate business. So 7 to 8 referrals a week, and I'm filtering those way down. I filter down to the people that I'm meant to serve.
Lynea, if I could just throw this in, for those of you on the call that have heard Brent talk, he actually talks about when he decided to grow his organization, he, specifically cut his production business in half. And I'm not saying that people should do that. You have to do what's right for you and what's part of your plan. But it was for that specific reason, because you can't put the energy into your business if you're split too many ways. I often tell people that I was pretending to be in real estate my first 4 to 5 years, and that was because I was a mom and I was still working part-time in the travel industry. So how much energy did I really have to put into the 2008, 9, 10, 11 market that was impossible to begin with? So that is, I'm still the person you're describing. I hate to admit it. I'm still like the 1% crazy person, and haven't figured.
It's not something made up in my head. So it's true. Okay.
No, I'm who you're describing for sure. But I have learned that at some point you have to eliminate some of the lesser important things as it relates to your goal. Right? Being in the travel industry was fun. I was comfortable there. I made money. I had free travel, but it wasn't working towards my goal. So it was something I had to let go of. And now, while everything I'm doing is within my business, I have to reevaluate that. And to what you're saying. And I think probably a lot of people on this call can relate to that.
Yeah.
I don't know any, top producing agents that aren't sometimes at least pulling their hair out.
It's a true statement. It's a true statement. So then that's where you redefine what top producing means to you.
Right.
So for me, like I said, top producing is my dollars per hour. How can I increase my dollars per hour? There are so many different ways you can increase your dollars per hour, right? You can put systems in place. You can create SOPs. You can hire a VA. You can hire an admin. You can hire buyer's agents. You can change the person that you talk to and create service options for them and cater to them so that you can not only elevate your price point, but you can ask for more compensation. That's the way I chose to do it. I chose to find out my target client is that C-suite executive because I come from a corporate background, right? So I worked with C-suite executives. I already was in their brain. I already knew what their problems were. I already knew how they communicated. And so when I had to rebuild, to be honest with you, I just reached out to them. I called them. I said, I want to pick your brain. I need to get inside your brain for like 15 minutes because I'm trying to rebuild my real estate business to find more people like you. I want inside your brain. And they gave me 15 minutes. Believe me, that 15 minutes had to be very pointed. Okay. Had to be very pointed. It couldn't be a long conversation. 15 minutes, very pointed. But I got to the root of their problem. And I figured out from them, what exactly do they want? If they were thinking about buying or thinking about selling, who would they hire? Give me the name of the agent you would hire and why you would hire that person. So then I created my business around that. I created my system. So we now basically have 3 different options that we work with our buyers. We have a low, medium, high. Okay. We have a premium package. And we, for our buyers and for our sellers, and our premium package is a premium price. So not only have I been able to raise my compensation by client, I've also been able to raise my price point because when you offer a premium service, what happens? You start to attract more people who want a premium service. And the people that are willing to pay a premium service have what?
Money.
Correct? Correct.
I don't think that was the answer you were asking.
No, that's absolutely the answer I was
Oh,
looking
it
for.
was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's really how it's done, right? So building your business and rebuilding yourself from burnout and avoiding burnout is really recognizing a few things. A, what is my goal? What do I have to do to get to that goal? And redefining that goal. And like I said, a lot of people have that. I want to sell the most amount of houses. I talked to someone the other day who's like, I want to do $100 million in volume this year. And I was like, okay. And she said, just imagine if I was actually organized, how easy it would be. And she's going to still sell $100 million in real estate in this year when a lot of agents aren't even selling one every 6 months. She's going to sell $100 million this year by being unorganized and not systematic. Just imagine how having systems in place, automations, leverage can actually help that $100 million come that much more easily. And could you potentially do 200 million? Probably.
So just in, I want to be mindful of time. We've got about 7 minutes left. If anyone has a question, definitely drop it in the chat. But Lynea, before when we were doing we did like a pre-qual. It wasn't really a pre-qual call, but we did a prep call for this. And you had shared a little bit of the ins and outs of like what some of those systems look like for you. Do you think we could take the last bit of this call to look at that?
I can. So let me show you. I'll show you my listing, like the beginning of the listing system. And so what happens is when someone books an appointment, this is what triggers this system in place, this automation. Okay. So just know that the person has booked the appointment. When they've booked the appointment, hold on, move my window here. Inside Follow Up Boss. So if you are not familiar with Follow Up Boss, this might look foreign to you. If you are, this might not. Inside Follow Up Boss, there's actually a trigger that happens that is going to start out this action plan. So we trigger it based off of the listing appointment date, a tag, or a deal stage. And once this workflow triggers, my hands are off. My hands are completely off. My VA comes in and my VA has every single action that she's supposed to take care of right here. She knows exactly what she's supposed to do. And how does she know this? Because we actually have an SOP that's written out completely for her that tells her how to do it. Not only in a step-by-step, not only what cadence, step-by-step, the tools she needs, but on top of that, we actually have an entire video. So we have built this as soon as the appointment's booked, she knows that this is her job to come in. And if she ever has any questions on this, she just comes in and she watches this. And these people, everyone that's getting an appointment, are getting everything. So the key to systems, the key to processes and automations like this is like, this is how my referral business is what it is. Because once someone has gone through this system and once they've signed that listing agreement right here, okay, so the day after, essentially, they get an automatic email. So this is automated. They get an automatic email that explains to them the Washington State Real Estate Brokerage Law, which is a requirement in our state. And that Washington State Real Estate Brokerage Law is not only a copy of the brokerage law, but it's also a video of me walking through it. So we've essentially automated our entire process with video and a VA. So yeah, it took me a minute to build all the videos, to build out the step-by-step, to tell her what I wanted her to do and train her on it, because I had to film, this video that shows her how to do it. I had to fill out the SOP. But once I did it, I don't have to do anything. I mean, I have to pull comps. Okay, I have to pull comps. I'm not teaching her how to pull comps, obviously, because I want to price things myself. That's the one thing I don't let other people do, obviously. But other than that, she does everything. So the coolest part is that 24 to 48 hours before the appointment, they've not only received my listing packet, my listing system, they've also received a phone call from me because we have that, the pre-qual call. They've also received a phone call from me. And then by the time I get there, they're already sold.
Lynea, I have a question.
Mhm.
If somebody doesn't have, like, they're starting totally from scratch
Mhm.
and they're looking to work with you to get their business to look like this, what is the timeline what does that look like time frame wise?
Well, inside Follow Up Boss, we actually build them out for people. So we actually have it to where we can actually go into Follow Up Boss and actually create this whole process for you. The thing is, like, in order to create the like Washington state specific, like your state specific, there's things that you have to know because I don't know laws for every state. So those are the things that would take a little bit longer. But I would say, like I tell people, you want to expect about 3-ish months at minimum to build out all of your processes. So, because the thing you want to think about is you have to start with one process first, and then you kind of want to move forward from there.
Yeah, I think that's something that is commonly misunderstood about building systems is like it's not going to happen overnight. It's something that as you're working with your clients, your buyers, your listings over the course of the next month, 2 months, 3 months, anything that is automatable, repeatable, like you're putting it into a document, you're leveraging ChatGPT or a system like that to help you actually turn it into a system, but you have to document your process so that you can make it systematic.
Yeah, and
And
if you want to build systems today, the number one thing to do would be to Loom, Loom. If you don't have that, just get it. And also pay to have Loom AI. Because Loom AI will actually create the entire SOP for you.
so with Loom, can you actually just turn Loom on and then like go through a process and then it will use AI to turn that into a system?
Yep. So this little extension right here is Loom.
Mm-hmm.
So once I film it, it actually turns it on, and then it'll show that it's recording. And then this is an older one because I did this before I actually had Loom AI. There it is. So it actually creates the SOP for you. So I didn't really have
You didn't have to do this. It did this
No.
for you.
No, you have to talk through it. So if you listen to the video, like I'm actually talking through it. I can share a quick like blurb real quick so you can hear me talking through it. So I'm
And
actually talking through it, right? In this video, I am going to show you how to complete the Follow Up Boss action plan, prepare for listing appointment, assuming 3 days until appointment. So the reason I'm talking through it, and then it essentially just grabs it and it says, here you go. So it's like even easier now. Like when I first built all of my systems, I didn't have that. AI wasn't a big thing because believe it or not, AI has not been around that long. It's only been around for a couple of years. And when I first started building these, I didn't have that. So I actually had to go in and manually do everything. But today, Loom AI has made it very like dummy proof. Like you can be the most tech challenged person and create an entire library of SOPs, not very much time.
And what do your VAs do as it relates to that?
Yeah.
They trigger?
Yeah, so my VA manages my Follow-Up Boss. So we actually all like if I have an appointment, I'll put it on the calendar or she'll put it on the calendar, whatever, but she will trigger the action plan based off of or she'll put the tag or she'll move the deal stage in Follow-Up Boss, whichever one it is. And that's how she does it. So she basically takes over everything and then she monitors it and makes sure all the tasks are done.
Interesting. We don't use Follow Up Boss, but I know some of my referral partners and colleagues do, and they do love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to answer the questions about VAs. Okay, so VA is virtual assistant. Apologies, I always forget sometimes that I'm speaking jargon. So thank you, whoever asked for. VA is virtual assistant. SOP is standard operating procedure, basically your process. I find a great VA. There's a few things that I teach people to do. First of all, you have to do a gap analysis. You have to understand what you need in your business. What's most important. Then you need to create a job description to find the person that's going to cover the biggest gap. So you should hire for the biggest gap first, right? And it's going to be one domino that's going to basically trigger off everything else. So you should hire for that one person first. You hire for that one person by creating a job description. Job description should be very inclusive of who you are and your company culture. So if you don't have a company culture, you need to create one. So company culture is your mission statement, core values, ideal client, etc. You need to create one. And then once you have that job description, then you need to post that. I use a platform, onlinejobs.ph. That's what I use. It really depends on their expertise, on how much I pay. I pay anywhere from $3 to $10 an hour.
Yeah. And if anyone is interested in connecting with a VA company, reach out to us. We have a company that we use that actually PJ here on the call is one of our virtual assistants who one of the many things she does is to help make sure that these calls run smoothly. And it's been a really positive experience for us. So we'd be happy to refer you over to them. I did, we're obviously past the top of the hour, so I know if you have to jump, please jump. Our next call is on August 25th. I dropped the RSVP link in the chat. And then, Lynea, anything that you shared on here that you're willing to provide, like a link or a training or whatever on, please send it my way, and we'll send an email out to all of you with that information so that you can learn from what she's built, copy what she's built, right? Like, don't reinvent the wheel. If Lynea is willing to share those things, like, take that back into your business and apply it. Tony, I think you made a really important comment. You said that you really need to focus on making money, so systems tend to wind up on the back burner. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And my best piece of advice with that is, like, if there's a certain amount of money that you can have in the bank that would allow you to, turn away a couple deals, like decide that you're not going to work with those clients because you need to take some of your time back to actually build those systems, decide what that amount is, and then work on building those systems when that time comes. Because if you don't, you're always going to have holes in the bottom of your bucket. And no matter how much you pour into it, there's going to be water pouring out the bottom, and it just is unsustainable. So, I'm obviously we all need to eat, we need to put dinner on the table. But decide where, like, you're comfortable saying, like, actually, I'm going to turn this deal away so I can take that time instead to build these systems.
If you don't mind me just adding 2 seconds to that call, because I know we're over time, but thank you for sharing that. It's a lesson I certainly need to learn. I just want to say we're in New York, but we are looking to grow our team. So if anybody knows anyone who's looking to join a team, please don't hesitate to point them in our direction. All different roles, agents, new and old, social media people, etc. So if anybody knows anybody looking, please put them in touch with us.
Yeah, and lastly, Mark, I know we missed your question about how do you, really show value as a buyer's agent. I wouldn't be surprised if Lynea has some sort of system that she uses for buyers. So maybe Mark and Lynea can connect offline about that.
Yeah, I'll give you I'll give you guys my calendar link. So if you want to book a call with me, you guys can book a call, and I'm happy to walk you through anything we talked through today or anything else. So
yeah, Mark seems like he's involved, but I'll definitely pass along to him too, because I just met Mark last week, and I'm so glad that you decided to join us.
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. This was really insightful. I took down a lot of notes, and I really appreciate you guys for giving me the link and just being able to just get information. I'm young and I want to be in the industry for a long time. There's a lot I want to do.
Very young.
Yeah,
Surprisingly
definitely.
young.
Yeah, I was born in 05, so 20 years old. But
He
yeah,
was lucky he was alive for the 2008 market.
I was 3 years old. I didn't know a thing that was going on. Not a thing, you know. So yeah, but I'm really, really grateful to be here.
I wish
Yeah,
I
and thank
started
you
this when
to
I was 20.
Annalisa. I don't know if she's still here, but Annalisa was the one
I
who
am here.
introduced me to Mark. So
And I'm very proud of Mark for doing it at a young age and getting himself involved and coming to this meeting today too,
Mm-hmm.
and meeting him at the coffee meetup.
yeah.
Gonna be a great success.
Thank you so
I
much.
have to jump, guys, but this was fabulous. Thank you so much, Lynea.
Yes, thank you. I was
Thank you for the
listening.
organization, and Dylan for jumping on and being our backup PJ. Bye, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Bye, everybody.